Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sharon the Red Baron show. I am Sharon, and I am so honored to have my new friend, Miss Micki Q, on.
Ah,
Um, I,
everybody.
I I love it. I love it. And I just wanted to share with you why I started this channel. You know, a lot of people have their hobbies and so forth, golf, fishing, whatever. I am fascinated by everyone's great awakening story. Like it's here, it's happening. It's all over the world, whether people are waking up, seeing and feeling things more, the signs and synchronicities, whether they're politically awakening, I've been interviewing a lot of people leaving the Mormon church. It's crazy. It's happening. So I love hearing everyone's story because I think everyone's story is so important. And so thank you, Miss Micki. I
Well,
want
I'm
to
happy
sing that song.
here.
Thank
I'm happy
you.
and honored to be here.
Oh, and I love your outfit.
By the way,
What was that?
I've never heard that one before in my life.
Heard which one?
Oh, the Mickey one.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fun, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. I don't know if that's a bad song or not, but it's
Yeah.
catchy. So listen, I have to add, well, one, I just want to thank you again. You're making cookies for Elvis over there and getting your thing ready. And most people, when they listen to this, they'll be like, what is she talking about? But
I
they'll
don't
understand someday, right? Um,
know.
so may
Yeah.
I ask you, well, first off, are you a believer in signs and synchronicities?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So many things have happened on my Q journey that are only explainable. Just so many different things. One of the biggest ones I have to talk about is I was on my way to the Ohio rally and I didn't
Uh-huh.
even have enough money. I was like a quarter of a tank shot of getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, God, you and me have a deal. Like I do your mission, I do your mission, and you make sure I have what I need to do your mission. So I was like, what the F? I really said that to God. Like I said the word. I said the
Oh, I
word, right?
bicker with them sometimes too, but
And I got in I on my Q mobile. Sadly, I totaled it. I was door dashing, which is something I do to help so I could raise money, go follow the president. And
thank you
sadly,
for doing that, by the way.
thank you very much. So sadly, I was door dashing. I missed a yield sign, totaled my Q mobile. But at the
Were
time,
you okay?
oh yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
But
okay.
at the
Good.
time, I had hold the line on my windshield, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
And um I got in the car and I didn't even know this song existed. I never heard it in my life. So on
What?
the shield, it says hold the line. I get in my car and Hold the Line by Toto comes on the radio.
I love that song.
My goodness. So of course, I follow Michael Brian Protzman, was at Dallas with Michael, -48 for months, followed him all over the country. And so I knew I
Oh.
needed to gematria that. And it comes out to 112, which there was a whole bunch of great 112s, but I can't remember all of them. The Last Dance is Michael's favorite, 112. And like It's Showtime, I believe, was one of them. It had a whole bunch of great ones. And I just started crying. I was like, okay. And I
I
made
heard
it.
that loud and clear, right? Is that what you're thinking?
It
I love
started
it.
right. I just was like, those are the kinds of things where I have no doubt God is right by my side. And I think he understood my frustration in that moment. And I
Yeah.
don't think he really cares too much about words. I think
I
about,
I feel the same. I kind of bicker with them and I challenge him all the time. I'm like, why is this happening? But listen, real quick before
people always say, but blasphemy to me is, when you talk about like against God, and I know he knows
oh,
I'm talking about against him. But anyway, so I called the man I was dating at the time, and he didn't answer the phone right away. And I reached out to my negative
Did you
48.
dump him? Did you dump him because he didn't pick up the phone?
No, I had to let him go for other reasons.
Oh, okay, okay.
No. Sometimes you just have to realize that certain people aren't, you're not meant to be with certain people. I think we were too much alike. We're too much both A-type people. I mean, and not fun loving, I'm not an organized person or anything like that, but I mean like strong-willed, I think. And so I just was like, this is just not what I want for my life. And but anyway, he did send me money for gas, and my negative 48 made sure I had gas. I got to the Ohio rally, had a blast as always. And but that was a definite time. But all along this journey, my prayer is always like, God, if you want me there, you're gonna have to find a way, because I don't have no money. Like God knows I don't have no money. So
And it worked out. It just
and always I've just had a lot of angels that along the way that have made sure I have what I need to do what he needs me to do, and I would be lost without them. And
I love
I
what you
in a
said.
weird situation. I live in with me and my husband. We've been divorced since September 23rd, 2010. But we've never lived a day apart. We live in the same house. We both own 50% of this house. And
That's
people often
I'm
ask,
glad
like,
it works well for
what,
you. Most
yeah.
people would have scratched their eyeballs out by
Well, just like anytime you throw two adults in a house together, you're bound to, have little tiffs here and there. I think it's about how you get through them, and you have to decide where, this person's place is in your life. And so, yeah, we get a little tiff sometimes, but
yeah.
it
That's
works.
good that
Mutual respect,
yeah.
I think, is the biggest thing. And I don't know what I would do without my daddy-o. That's what we call him, daddy-o, David Olson. That's my ex-husband. And this has been
Like
a
that
journey.
song, Daddy O. Isn't that a Metallica song? Do 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 Daddy O. Sorry, I digress. I love music, so I just
Yeah, I'm gone a lot, I'm gone a lot. And so he holds down the fort, and also, financially has helped me along my journey. And
that's nice. Then why
so
did you divorce him? Just
that's a long story.
okay, I understand.
My book, that's not for public viewing.
Okay, yeah, I understand. But listen, you had mentioned gematria, and could you explain that to people? Because when I bring it up, and I'm getting, I mean, Danielle and I, we do a lot of them, and she knows where my mind's at, and she's so good at it. Like I
Yeah.
like to listen within, like I listen. I'm so glad you said that you're grateful for, your angels and stuff, because I know I'm a big believer. I would not be here if it wasn't for those little signs and synchronicities, and I'm just going to be open. So I'm a big believer. But yeah, could you explain what gematria is? Because I feel like it's going to be the next biggest fun game for people to put the puzzle piece together, because everything has been in front of our face all along.
Right. I think that you know how kids, you learn ABCs 1, 2, 3, right?
Yep.
I think when they're doing their homework now, they'll have to have that A and put 1 under it. And, they'll have to know that Z is 26 and Q is 17, and they'll have to know all that. It'll be instantaneous. They'll think of those numbers as easy as they think of the letters. And when I was in jail, I didn't have my tools, like we have gematrix.org and all that, and gematrinator.com also. But when I was in jail, I didn't have any of that. So everything I was doing, and I was in isolation for 51 days of my sentence because I refused to take the COVID test.
Oh my gosh, Micki, are you kidding me?
Right. And they kept
I am
threatening.
so sorry. That pisses me off.
That's okay. You know what? All of it brought me closer to God. That's all I had. you know,
Yeah.
my God, my Lord Jesus, that's all I had. And I had friends. I wasn't in isolation the way that most people thinks. I wasn't in some dungeon or nothing like that, okay? But I wasn't allowed out of my cell. I wasn't allowed to shower. I had $2,500 on my books, but I wasn't allowed to spend a penny. And I couldn't even
All
clean my
because you wouldn't take the COVID vaccination. They put you.
take the COVID test. So
What?
the
Who
first,
did you? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, that's okay. I think it's Carrie Mullis. I hope I'm saying it right. It might be Carrie Mullins. I think it's Carrie Mullis. Oh, I hope I'm saying it right. Anyway, but he invented the COVID test, and he said it wasn't meant to diagnose anything, and he called Fauci out as a fraud,
I
right?
remember a lot of this. Oh yeah. I thought it was all woo-hoo at first, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much information out there. Why aren't people looking this stuff up, you know?
And then, you know, the whole mask thing and everything, and I've been denied my VA benefits in Abilene, Texas. I have not been able to be seen in Abilene, Texas at the VA clinic because I refuse to wear a mask. I absolutely refuse. And so even though you can go to any hospital in Abilene, Texas, you don't have to wear a mask. You can go on Dyess Air Force Base and not have to wear a mask. You cannot go to the VA clinic here in Abilene, Texas without wearing a mask. So they have deprived me. I'm supposed to get a new pair of glasses every year. So, you know, and to them, it's like, just wear a mask. And that's just not going to happen. I'd rather drop dead and die first.
I love you. I felt the same way. When I first put one on, I'm like, I couldn't even breathe. I've got this nasally voice to begin with. So I'm like, great. Then I'm going to have, and I'm like, screw it, pound sand.
And I got in one horrible, before this car accident, when I was in DC, my car was vandalized twice. Once I was with David Stray, and me and David Stray and his assistant at the time, got I think her name's, oh, can't remember. Anyway, I'm horrible with names.
Oh, I hear you.
Horrible with names. So, but we had all been hanging out all day in DC doing a tourist thing, and came back, and there was a cop car behind my car. And David's like, just get in your car and drive off, Micki. So that's what I was going to do, right? But I wouldn't start, because apparently what they do now is they'll rock the car until the battery dies before they vandalize it. So I keyed my car, put a little sign on, said, like, you drive like a butthole, I'll just clean that up for you. So then, but get this, right? This is so funny. So David comes up there. I think her name was Jane, but I can't, just not really certain. And anyway, David comes up there to the car, and he's like, why haven't you driven off? I'm like, it won't start.
Oh man.
Believe this. Because at the time, my Q-Mobile had a sticker on the back that said Trump JFK Jr., where we go all 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
It had a Q plus, and it had other stickers too, but it had that one on it, right? Well, apparently the cop had a picture of JFK Jr. on his computer when David and Straight went up to his vehicle.
Huh?
So
are you saying that he was like a picture
of JFK Jr. as David and his assistant went up to talk to him. So I have a sticker that says Trump JFK Jr. on my car, right?
Yeah.
This guy like has a picture like on his computer, right? Like he turns, like, I can see you, right?
Yeah.
Picture.
But why did he have that up though?
Well, that's why I'm staying, right? Like, so for me, he likes JFK Jr., obviously.
Oh, okay, good. That's what I thought you were trying to say. I wasn't sure at first, like, oh, they're crazy QAnons and
and he told David he was so glad we came when we did, because he really didn't want to have my car towed.
Oh.
he said, I'm really glad you all come because I really didn't want to have it towed.
Oh, that would have just stunk because you wanted to be with your soul tribe.
Yeah. So,
You
but
sound like Roseanne Barr, by the way. I just thought
time.
I
I
know Danielle planted that in my head, and now I hear it. I'm like, she sounds like Roseanne Barr.
I get that. Tell me that, and that I sound like Suzanne Barr. And sometimes I'll listen to video playback and I'll be like, yeah, I kind of do, I guess, certain parts. Like when I say, yeah, I don't know.
You're so cute. Oh my gosh. It's
We
funny
were,
you say David Straight because I
yeah,
would love it if you can kind of get into that, because I think a lot of the people I've been interviewing for, the Mormons leaving the church, I mean, their
yeah.
stories are crazy, but they don't know who he is. But I feel like that would be a good topic to discuss so that they can.
Uh, David is a brilliant man. I've never had a conversation with him in which I didn't leave smarter for having had it. David is on Melania's human sex trafficking task force. He helps rescue the children. He's also part of President Trump's government corruption task force. But the biggest thing he also does is he teaches seminars about a lot of different topics, but about state nationalism and how our country was hijacked in 1871 and we are made a corporation
I know when
underneath.
I say that to people, they're like, that's the stupidest thing. I'm like, could you please take the time to check it out first before you call me crazy? I mean, it's that simple. And then boom, it's everywhere if you look it up.
Right.
I
Yeah.
digress. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
But Sharon, if you get a chance, what you need to do is go to YouTube and listen to David Straight read our new Declaration of Independence that was signed by President Donald J. Trump at Mount Rushmore on July 4th, 2020.
oh, I haven't gotten that far. I've been picking away. And I love that he makes everything so simple to understand, because I'm
Yes,
not good with jargon and lawyer jargon and all that stuff, but he breaks it down where I couldn't believe, my mom was a labor and delivery nurse and she delivered me. And then I'm thinking, my mom had no idea she was signing my rights away. Like,
none of us knew though, right? None of us had any idea. But now we're waking up, and President Trump is our commander in chief. We're under the War Powers Act right now. Joe Biden was never our president. President
oh,
Donald J. Trump, uh, on May 4th, 2020, President Trump signed a letter stating that we were bankrupt and that they owed, and he signed it CEO, Chief Executive Officer, President Donald J. Trump. And he said, I gave the American people back what you all owe them, and you owe them a whole bunch more per your own laws that say that the debt has to be paid in gold. That's what kept us enslaved for so long.
And what JFK and Reagan were trying to expose, and then they both, get
right.
attempts on their lives.
Well, not only that, you had Abraham Lincoln, who also did the greenbacks to go away from the Federal Reserve and get the money through the Treasury. Okay, then you had President Kennedy signed Executive Order 11110 to do silver certificates to go away from the Federal Reserve and get the money through the Treasury. Also, we didn't have to pay interest. But they are not the only ones that were killed, or people believe were killed. maybe, maybe things aren't always as they seem.
I agree.
Maybe things aren't always as they seem. But
I agree.
yeah,
That reminds me of talking to Easy going on the phone, and oh my gosh, my head starts spinning. Of course, he got deplatformed, so he's on to a new character, he said. So
Gaddafi is one that he was working with 5 other nations to back their money in gold, and also to make it to where they were not selling their gold for the dollar. Now, they'll probably hang me, call me a traitor or something, but the fact of the matter is our government's been doing evil all around the world for a long time. And it's
I believe it. I didn't think I at first, when I was awakening, I thought no. And then I just was listening and started doing a little bit of research in the breadcrumbs. And, I love the platform Telegram. That's been my go-to. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this legit is on our government website and you can find it here and there. But then things started to come down. And that's why I stuck with Telegram, because I felt both sides, at least, people on the left and the right, it's not censored. So I thought that's a good place, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's well, Gaddafi was a good man. And Gaddafi actually made sure his people had food and shelter. They had food and shelter and clean water and education. And he even gave $5,000 to each family as a gift whenever they brought a child into the home. And he
Aw.
also did something most people don't know about that Michael told us about. Like whenever he talked about Gaddafi, it's something was very important to him, obviously, to make sure everybody knows. And so even though we don't know where Michael is right now, wink, wink.
Uh-huh. I see
Uh,
right through this, girlfriend. I hope you know.
and,
Roseanne.
but he would want everybody to know that Gaddafi built a tunnel and took $70 billion to build this tunnel in 40 years. And it was to funnel water from Libya into Africa so they could grow their own food.
So
And
smart.
the country blew it up in 2 minutes.
What blew it up? What was that?
Our country, our CIA, blew it up in 2 minutes. See, they'd be killing
Pieces of
these
shit.
leaders.
Sorry, I kind of say that word a lot.
You have the Rothschilds, they own pretty much the Federal Reserve, right?
Mm-hmm. When I say that, people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, please do your research. They think this is made up and it's not.
Reserves and okay, so I just read the Straw Man book. I don't know. Oh,
The
it's in my
what?
it's the Straw Man. It's in my other room. And it's a book about the straw man. And
Okay.
that's how when they created your straw man with your all caps name,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
And they made you a corporation.
Yep. Like David Straight explains.
And David Straight showed me being traded on the stock market real time on January 9th, 2021.
So you were able to see it. So it's not like this fake stuff that people think. He brought it up and oh my gosh, did you just pee your pants?
And showed me about 20 different countries and 20 different corporations were trading me real time on the stock market.
So can you explain that part a little bit more, how you're being traded on the stock market? Because the average person that's going to be listening to this, they're to be like, I don't even know what she's talking about. You know what I mean? Like how it's traded.
I understand that. Well, if you understand your all caps name made you a corporation, and that combined with various different, like your birth certificate
It's
has
on your birth certificate. It's your cusp number, correct?
CUSIP number, yeah. And
Yeah.
but you have different ones. You have one on your social security number. Anything where you basically have a license, they can trade that on the stock market. And also, people don't know that whenever you sign like a mortgage or car note, or anytime you use your social security number combined with your like straw man name, right? Which is what they use on the applications, they actually get paid. They actually get paid for that application.
Isn't that messed up? I couldn't believe that when you legit start looking into this, you almost pee your pants and you're like, this can't be true, but it really is. It's so messed up.
So your mortgage was paid at the second you signed your mortgage. They took the money out of your trust, and they've been doing it ever since we had a trust, because when you're born, they bond you. They take out a life insurance policy that's like $675, but they also take out a bond that lasts in perpetuity. So that means even when you're dead, it's still there. Now they can't touch that, whatever your original was, whatever you had at the time of death, but they still, whatever your interest was, they communicate, it keeps going, right? Like it keeps growing the interest, right? That you're getting on. And so this is going to disgust everyone. And that is the fact that I listened to this lady, I think her name was Sherry Johnson. She worked for the IRS, and it was a very informative video. And she was talking about how, you know, she's worked for the IRS, she has CPA, so she opened her own business, but she had saw on USA Today how they had a thing saying nobody has yet to claim the $50,000 reward for finding something in the penal code of the IRS that requires the average American citizen to pay taxes.
I remember seeing that. There's a bunch of videos floating around on Telegram about that. I almost peed my pants on that too. She's like, we can't find anything on the books.
She does it the best. But that you combine with David Straight, but her being somebody that worked for the IRS, she used to do the investigations and stuff, right? So, and she says, do you know that not a penny of our money in taxes goes to operating our government?
I believe it.
Not one single penny.
That makes me so mad. I just want to
like to these private bankers that own the Federal Reserve. She said they get $36 billion a day interest.
A day?
A day. So all of our money for our taxes goes to funding the interest on the fake dollar that isn't worth 2 cents rubbed together on a good day. All right.
Isn't that bullshit? Excuse my language, but people work so hard, and when they find that out, they're gonna hit the roof.
I did 20 years in the military. I promise you, there's nothing you can say that's gonna offend me.
I'm just trying to be a little clean, but when I get really mad, sometimes I drop some really bad words.
What it is I made the decision shortly after David Straight showed me being traded on the stock market. He'd already told me about it, but when you see it, it's quite alarming. And you know, of course, January 6th had happened and I was out there.
What was your experience? Can you share your experience on January 6th being there? Was it like, because I already know the truth because I knew some people, but was it violent and all that like they perceived? And
here's the thing. They brought in Antifa and BLM, and there's videos showing the Capitol Police and the Metro Police actually escorted these big, huge buses in. They got off, they bought Trump gear and Q gear to try to make us look like it was our fault.
How simple is that? And people believe it, and they don't even understand that they've been fooled.
And I said that at my jury trial. I knew I was going to go to jail. Okay, so my defenseless attorney, Daniel Dorsey, my defenseless attorney, I'm going to make him famous, and it's not going to be in a good way. He better hope he's an actor in this movie, because I'm not going to make him look very good. Because
you're going to punch him in the face? No,
I wouldn't do anything like that. But he was my defenseless attorney, and he told me I could say whatever I wanted, but I was going to end up in jail. But he really didn't let me say whatever I wanted. Between silencing me, the prosecutor, and the judge, I was not able to get much, because I always told everybody I'm willing to go to jail for the truth. And I meant that with my whole heart and soul. And so I wanted to get there and share the truth about a lot of things that I know. And you know, it just, I did say that to the jury. I said, what breaks my heart as somebody that served my country for 21 years, the worst thing anybody's ever called me is a traitor. I almost died for this country, and I almost got blown up twice that I'm very well aware of in Iraq.
I'm thankful for your service. Thank you.
So, and then you imagine what it's like to find out that your own government did 9/11.
I know. Oh my gosh. Micki, can I tell you? I've been out with friends to prove a point and just what you said. And I've seen a few people with the New York firefighter hats and stuff. And I've asked them in front of people and, I thank them for everything they've done. But I said, was 9/11 really an inside job? Every single one. They're like, yup. But
Yeah.
people think that just sounds crazy. People are just lazy. They don't want to do their research
Um,
or they
okay,
don't want to be wrong.
I have to say one thing, and that's uh I'm here because I got red pilled by Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr red pilled me. So I think it's funny when people think I'm Roseanne Barr. She red pilled me. And all she did was on November 17, 2017, Roseanne Barr sent out a tweet that's asked who is Q. So I thought I might take a couple minutes and tell Roseanne Barr exactly who Q is. I had no idea. Roseanne knows. And
I love
Roseanne
watching her. She's
was
awesome.
waking us up. And so I didn't sleep hardly at all for a few weeks, just waiting for those Q drops to come down. And so I was sitting there. One thing that was interesting during that time when I first was waking up to what was going on was talking to strangers on the telephone. That I don't know who. I don't usually go give my phone number to everybody else, but it's like, oh yeah. And I'm talking on the phone to people I had no idea, and they're telling me things, and I'm like, so this one lady, she's like, I don't remember names, but she was like, do you know about the Georgia Guidestones?
Oh, I heard about
And
those, knocking them down.
Georgia Guidestones. So I'm like, I don't read a bunch of books, and like I'm not a big reader and all that. She goes, take you 2 minutes.
Mhm.
Now I've not only read the Georgia Guidestones, I've been there with my friends, my -48 and my ride or die, Kim Stevenson. We went out when we were out there for the Trump rally in Casper, Georgia. And we went out there and we took a bunch of pictures and film and everything. And this is kind of funny. So we're all taking pictures and stuff, right? And my badass Protsmanian patriot sister, J Mac, Julie, right? She's you know how you can take rocks and kind of color with
Yeah, they
rocks?
almost look like chalk when you write on another stone.
So there was something that said reason, and J Mac put with the rocks, he put treason, right? And I said, you need to write a Q, right?
I
And
love it. That's awesome.
we circled around the Georgia Guidestones 3 times. We all put our hands out. We all each said a prayer. And all I can say is the Georgia Guidestones don't exist anymore.
I heard that. And you people look at that.
Let me tell you some coding on that, though. That's
Oh,
very interesting. So the White Hats took that down July 6th, 22. You put 7 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2, you get 17.
big
It was
guy.
also George W. Bush's 76th birthday.
Ah, symbolism. It's everywhere.
And the Georgia Guidestones was 666 miles from the United Nations headquarters.
There are
You know,
no coincidences.
UN Agenda 2030
Yeah,
says
but
we must decrease the human population to 800 million by the year 2030, right? Well, the
yep.
first thing Georgia Guidestone says, we must decrease the human population to 500 million to be in perpetual balance with nature.
Isn't that crazy that I mean, I can understand why people would think that that sounds crazy because on the outside, it just looks like everyone's doing their own thing, right? But when you really start looking into this and you see it for yourself that it's not made up and you start going down the rabbit hole and you're like, and it just keeps going and you're like, oh, this is not good.
169 nations signed on to UN Agenda 2030, including our own.
Isn't that
So
sick? And
Micki,
here they
hey,
like to make it sound like they're doing all these favors. I have not seen one good thing that they've done, and I don't think people can even say that. I mean, they can't come up with something. They hear they're portraying themselves as helping humanity when they're really the ones that are destroying it secretly.
they're trying to kill us. And
Pieces of shit.
so I can't be bothered with what everybody thinks or how the media
Yep.
chooses to betray me. Gene Ho asked me that. You know, Gene Ho is a very good friend of mine. Gene Ho is President Trump's campaign photographer for 2016, and he's the editor-in-chief of George Magazine, which was JFK Jr.'s magazine.
I heard that. Didn't he take that job recently, or was it
So he's
recent,
had
or
it
was
for
he
a bit now. He's had it for a bit. And so he had me on his show about George right after I met President Trump because the media went crazy.
Mhm.
The media went crazy, and so Gene had me on his show. And
Were you dressed like that? I love your outfit.
thank you. I didn't have all my buttons on when I met President Trump, and I didn't have my Qs on. I don't wear that when I'm going to the rallies. I don't wear, so I usually have my buttons on, but I didn't that day because I didn't have time. I had driven 30 hours from Abilene, Texas to Manchester, New Hampshire.
That's
And
my home state. The live
yeah,
free or die state.
so,
Did Danielle tell you that?
hmm, no. So I mean, normally I have my buttons on, but I just didn't have time to put them on. But after my long drive and when I met the president, I wish I would have had them on when I met him, but
Oh, I can't
it,
imagine what that felt like. I just pray we
yeah, it
all
was
get to shake his
an
hand someday and thank him and his
experience.
family.
To have him look me in the eye and tell me I was a terrific woman. And he said, you've been through too much, or they put you through too much. And you guys are going to be okay. He said, meaning Jam Sixers. And he said, you're going to end up very happy. And, you know, I'll never forget that opportunity. And some people, it's like, that's not Trump. That's somebody disguised as Trump. Well, that's my experience with President Trump. And I'm not going to let anybody take that away from me.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I don't care who they are.
I don't, do you feel, I feel the same way. A lot of people that are awakening to what's really been happening in this world, like politically, geopolitically, like everything is, at first it was painful for people to lose friends and family over your political beliefs. But now as the years have gone by, I believe God prepared us all. We're like, no, can't do it. I'm not. I've basically lost my entire family because no one, they think I'm crazy. My kids, I mean, Micki, can I tell you something real quick? When my daughter had her last year in high school, um, they brought the school together, the parents, and they were saying, let's separate the parents at the podium like they always do. Who's for masks and who are against masks? So I wasn't there. I was on the Facebook Live feed and I was getting so mad. I was in my Jeep just screaming out loud. I'm like, yes. Like I mean, we paid them to tell, we paid the school to do what we say. It's our own right to choose what's right for our kids. And there weren't a lot of people picking up, but you know what I picked up, and I documented it. And I had never heard, I'm trying to remember, it was a new superintendent or the principal. He would call the parent, they would always call the parents up by name before and say where they lived and have their minutes and all that. This time, 3 different times they called the parents customers, and I'm freaking out on the feed. I'm like, did you just hear it? You're not even a parent anymore. You're a customer. And it just went right over. But you know how the towns talk. So I know that my daughters heard that I kind of lost it. And I'm like, you know what? If no one else is paying attention, like it's in your face. But people just didn't pick up on it. Oh, it made me so mad. I wanted to.
Yeah, it's just so much. And it's all been so much. And the first time I was put in isolation in jail, right? They kept telling me I'd be in isolation my whole 180 days. I said, well, I guess that's what God wants for me then. So I ain't taking that stupid test. And then they asked me why I wasn't gonna take the test, and I try to tell them, and then they just walk off. They don't really want to know, you know? And so
So
the first time
sorry.
it was
I
21 days.
commend you though. That is just some badass stuff right there. Ooh, did you
And
see the orb? Just saying.
so yeah, I couldn't, I wasn't allowed out of my cell. The first time I was allowed out twice to go get medicine, and I got 2 3-minute phone calls for during that 21 days inside my cell. And
So sorry.
so then the person in charge of medical at the jail comes and asks me if I would be okay with taking an x-ray to prove I don't have COVID. Most people
An
don't know.
X-ray? Does
Right.
that even make sense?
I know. So most people don't know. I also became a certified medical assistant. I served 21 years in the Air Force. I'm an Iraq war veteran, but I also became a certified medical assistant. So, and I can read a box and see that it says does not work against COVID, right? When I had my first Q-mobile and I totaled it, it got hit by a vehicle. I swear to God, it's the truth. With the last 3 of the VIN 666. I'm not lying.
Say that one more time.
So my car got vandalized. NDC when I was with David, but also when I was in jail for the night. I got out, they sliced 3 of my tires, put a screw in one, and took a knife to the hood of my car. And so I was on my way to take it to get an estimate, see how much it would cost to fix it. And I got hit by this guy, a sweet young man. I have no doubt that he had no idea what the last 3 of his VIN on his vehicle is, neither did I. But let me tell you this is very interesting, okay? It's very interesting. Goes back to gematria, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, God communicates through numbers as 351, okay? And ABC, if you line them all up together and you add them all together, it comes up to 351. Okay, so each letter has a number. A is 1, B is 2, C.
ABC, as easy as 1, 2, 3.
But what is interesting is I didn't name my first car. My daughter did, and she named her Rosie. Well, so get this. So the last 3 of my VIN was 6060, means nothing. 66 is freedom. So I knew this a while back. But then me and my writer guy tried to go see Dinesh D'Souza at one of the colleges. And
who's that again? Please don't laugh.
Dinesh D'Souza.
Yeah.
You know who he is. Dinesh,
there's a lot of names. If you could just refresh.
Movies, like Police State was his last one that he did. He did one on the Democrat Party. He was actually thrown in jails by Barack Obama. Yeah, he was thrown in jail. But anyway, go look him up. But very interesting man. Anyway, so we had tried to go see him, and 45 minutes before he was scheduled to go on the stage, they told us that only alumni and students could go. Yeah, and so I'd gotten a hotel room and everything just to go see Dinesh, and we weren't able to go see him anyway. But when I did that trip, right, this girl gives me room 606. Well, her name so happens to be Rosie, right?
I get where you're going with this.
After again 606, lady's name's Rosie, my car's name's Rosie. So I go up to my room and I do gematria on Rosie for the first time because I didn't know Michael when I had my Q-mobile. When I had Rosie, I didn't know Michael. My second one, I knew Michael, but my first one, I didn't. So I didn't do the gematria on her. Well, guess what? The gematria for Rosie is 66.
There you go. The numbers don't lie.
Isn't that
fascinating?
crazy?
I mean, when I started learning it, I'm like, nah.
And that's why, and then when I was in jail, it was very helpful, comforting to have the gematria, even though I had to figure everything out kind of, I just had to figure out things on my own because I didn't have our normal tools. I didn't have anything. And The second time they put me in isolation. So by the way, the quarantine time. So if I go to jail and I have COVID, I get out of the quarantine 14 days later. Okay. But I'm in there 21 days. No symptoms, no nothing, right? So then
Believe this, that it even, I'm so glad you're sharing this because I can't imagine how many other people got in trouble and banished and, people losing their jobs for refusing to wear a mask and getting that. And
so the second time I was at the halfway house, right?
okay.
I'm at the halfway house, so it's kind of nice. I'm getting to wear my own clothes again. They catered in all the food. The food was amazing. I even got ice cream for the first time since I was in jail. Salad, because we didn't get much salad in jail. And so, I mean, I was able to put my makeup on, do my hair and all this stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
Music again, which I'm all about my music. And Tom McDonald's my favorite singer.
Who is?
Tom McDonald is my favorite singer.
That was my aunt's previous husband's name, Tom McDonald. He
Oh, really?
divorced her.
Well, that's interesting.
Well, he's no longer around. I don't mean that in a bad way. I
That's
think
good. He's an awesome rapper. He does true songs. He raps true songs.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, he's great. And
Cool.
but my whole thing was, so I'm finally had my music back. I was able to talk to people on the phone and all that whenever I wanted. And then I'm only there a week and I get told I have to take the COVID test because
Shut up.
somebody was exposed to COVID. Somebody was exposed, so I have to take it, right?
Oh
So now you have to understand when you're in a halfway house, some people are working, so they're out and about, they're getting visits from their families and all this stuff. So that's basically anybody that has a flu, because we went from 38 million cases of flu one year to 1,832 cases.
I know. Does that even make sense? No. Exactly.
Name of the flu to get that poison in everybody's vein. And everybody said, why does Trump keep telling everybody to get the vaccine? Well, that's because what Trump approved and what they're putting into people's bodies are two completely different things.
Yep.
Said, I want everybody to have what I have. And it was made to the HCQ, but there's other ingredients, but all very safe, I don't remember all of them. But the bad people, they put luciferase. They wanted Lucifer running through everybody's thing. That's why you have people that were magnetic. And you get a spoon near them, and the spoon would attach to them. And I'm in your boat because my daughter's
I am
studying.
taking magnets. Oh, there you are. It says it's unstable.
My daughter, she's studying to be a nurse. She's in her last school. And I'm just crazy to her, and she gets all her vaccines, whenever they tell her, she's right there. And
that really bothered me. If can I say something about the vaccines? One thing that I look back on that knowing, well, first, if people are real, true religious people and they study the Bible and the mark of the beast, it actually explains that that's what it is. But what upsets me the most is that, I remember running around when my girls were younger to get my kids in school because they had to be updated on all their vaccines. And now I'm just so upset with myself because now that I've gone down the rabbit hole and all the information is out there, whether people want to deny it or not, it's out there if you know just what to look for. It's hundreds and thousands of things. But what upsets me the most is that now I can connect the dots and why it was so important for them to do that to our children. And when you realize that our bodies weren't meant to take this synthetic and horrible stuff in our bodies, no wonder why everyone's getting sick. And people just they're not getting it. But when they find out, especially the mama bears, they're going to want to rip people's heads off. They're going to want justice on that.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, I call it the quack scene. I got that from some lady. I don't know. I was watching some show and she called it the quack scene. And I'm like, that fits. And then so everybody gets quaccinated with their quack scenes and it's all just crazy nonsense to me. And but
can I share one story on
yeah,
that too? Just so people can recognize, because I understand some people that are watching this may think it's crazy, and that's okay. I feel like we all need to come to a place of stop fighting and just listen and be open to being open. But here's one thing that I learned. My neighbor, one of her brothers, he lived out of state, I think in California. One of her brothers took it, and within 1 week, good shape, no underlying conditions, he dropped dead within a week. So
oh
she
my,
had to go and take care of all of his stuff going back and forth. But then a year later, and then she had told me, and this isn't like, you know, messing up the story from another person. This is from her directly. She said, because she thought maybe it was from him taking that. So when she talked to the coroner, she says, I think it has to do with that, meaning what we were just talking about. And as soon as she said that, the coroner said, you're going to have to do your own private autopsy. When I thought it was their job to give a cause of death. So
wow.
then isn't that kind of creepy? I mean, you're not supposed to do that. And then fast forward a year later, her other brother took it, perfectly healthy. Within a week, he dropped dead. So
Oh
this
my.
isn't just like, a friend of a friend of a friend. This is like real.
The government's not doing an autopsy to get a cause of death if somebody just says it's because of the wow.
Yep.
Wow, I had
Yep.
no
And those are
idea.
the people that are supposed to be looking out for us, and they're telling you that. Like, does that even make sense, people? That's the
Wow.
first thing I thought of. It's just common sense 101, you know?
I got in my accident, right? The first time in the vehicle with the 666 hit me. The ambulance wouldn't take me because I wouldn't wear a mask, and my wrist was so jacked up, it still is. And I get to the hospital and they're like, well, you have to wear a mask. I said, well, show me the box. Like 6 times I tell them, show me the box that says that will protect you against anything or me against anything. I said, just let me read the box. Right. And so this male nurse says, this is at Hendricks Hospital in Abilene, Texas, by the way.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
And they say, well, ma'am, it makes other people feel comfortable. And I said, I didn't go in the Air Force and nearly die for my country, make other people feel comfortable. I
Good
said,
point.
I was willing to die for freedom. And I know
And
that's
you, lady, did you say that to her?
free. Nothing about this that's free. You can't prove to me this works. You're violating the Nuremberg Code. You're committing war crimes against the American people. You're committing war crimes by forcing them to use an experimental device. People don't realize that. You cannot force people to use an experimental device. It was never signed off to be used against a virus. It does nothing. It's a particulate mask. Does nothing to protect anybody. So they've been depriving me of my benefits at the VA clinic here in Abilene, Texas, all this time because I won't wear a mask because I can read. And so I'm one of those people. I'm ready for the nurses and the doctors and everyone that allowed this hoax to continue to get punished. And they got punished the first Nuremberg trials. The media of them got hung during the first Nuremberg trial because they had a responsibility to tell the truth to the public. Well, these doctors and these nurses, they decided to take the money, keep their jobs.
So when you say with the nurses, so the nurses were getting kickbacks as well, you think?
I don't think the nurses were getting kickbacks, but the nurses sure the heck knew that those how when you get a vaccine or whatever, when you get in, right, it has like all this information on there, right?
Yeah.
They were getting them, there was blank, there wasn't anything in it. It just said there was nothing on it, no writing, no nothing. And you're supposed to perform, you have to give informed consent to your patient.
Yep.
If you don't know what's in a vaccine and you don't know the dangers, you cannot give informed consent. And if you give me informed consent and I decide no, you cannot risk my job. You cannot risk, you cannot deny me health care. You cannot deny somebody health care because they refuse to, because they heard the information and they're rejecting it. You
I
cannot.
know. Does that even make sense now? When people, like, how many years has it been? And when you just think about that, what you just said, it doesn't even make sense. So if the people that are trying to protect us are saying this, it just makes no sense. I mean, come on, people. You got to start waking up on this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people that took it and all of a sudden they started shaking and having tremors really, really bad. And I mean, we're talking, this has affected everyone. This is
What's the autoimmune disease? I don't want to violate my daughter's own confidence, but you know, maybe someday she'll be able to put two and two together and figure out what this poison did to her. But I don't want to get into her personal.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But yeah,
I tried to I tried to forward, for right before, it was right when COVID was starting. And I was very, very grateful for a dear friend back east. His name's Andy, and he's the one that awakened me. And I'm so glad that I took the time to actually look at these videos and what doctors were saying, the ones that they started taking down like left and right. There were still some, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what the heck? And so I sent a list of these videos to my ex-husband. And he just laughed. He's like, stop sending me this shit. My daughter, I think what's happened with a lot of the kids is they want to follow, they unfortunately that everyone was programmed like, I want to feel safe. So all of her friends were getting it. I had to fight so hard at her doctor's office because I literally, my first attorney friend I called, she goes, there's really nothing you can do. I'm like, I don't believe that. So then I called my divorce attorney, and I loved her. She's just this a balls to the wall person. And she goes, oh no, she goes, she goes, take a copy of your divorce decree, send it certified mail that you make both the decisions for both households and so forth. And sure enough, as soon as she turned 18, she got it. And my heart just sank. I mean, I followed up with the doctor's office. I called to confirm that they received my letters, because that's why I did I wanted to just confirm. And oh my gosh, I lost my cool because the nurse there, Micki, she was telling me that, there's going to be a new law soon that the kids are going to be able to decide. Like, it was something like 12 or 13 years old to get vaccines without their parents' consent. I'm like, what? I lost it, Micki. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm going in there with blazing guns. But I didn't mean like I was going to go. And she goes, I take offense. I'm like, no, I got programmed to say that. It was just awful. I'm laughing at it now, but I'm like, oh shit. But my point is,
had them hang up at me at the VA and my primary doctor, and they hang up on me. I told myself I don't want a letter telling me why I have to wear a stupid mask. I do have a letter. So yeah, I think we got stalled out here. But I do have the letter with them telling me that. And but I just ready for the world to know the truth.
me
and
too.
for right people to be punished.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
I always tell my good friend Jessica Watkins, my fellow Jan Sixer, I told her whenever I have the mic, I'm gonna make sure to talk about you and my fellow Jan Sixers. So I just, please keep our January Sixers in your prayers, my fellow Jan Sixers. And the one that right now is hurting my heart real bad is Jake Lang. Jake Lang's been in there for over 3 years. And Jake Lang's crime is he saved the lives of my friends, Philip Anderson and Tommy Tatum. And what happened was he was trying to save the life of Roseanne Boyland that was being brutally murdered by Capitol Police Officer Lila Morris. A Black female police officer beat Roseanne Boyland to death, and she died with Philip Anderson was holding her hand when she left this world. And they said she died of drugs, but that's bull crap. She had done drugs, I guess, way years ago. But no, she was to death. Jessica Watkins is one of those. She's in there as a oath keeper, and I don't know if you recently saw they came out with proving with the video that Harry Dunn was a freaking liar, and that the other guy that was saying that he saw what the oath keepers did to him, right, and that they were not protecting him and all this stuff. He was in a completely different building.
I've been seeing and what I love is it's not just an article. We're seeing video clips and all kinds of things to prove these things, and still people want to deny it. I'm like, come on now, you really want to be right that much? Because what's going to happen is, you know, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of people eating some humble pie, because, and then they're going to know how we felt and in what they were doing to us. And thank goodness people like you and the whole Q team and everyone have been so strong, because if there weren't people like you, we'd already be gone. I don't think people even understand that. Like, for me, in simple terms, when I thought about it and I started going down the rabbit hole, you know, I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, Auschwitz didn't happen that long ago when you think about it. They've just done it a different way. And when I've said that to people, they're like,
it's not what people think. Even Hitler's not what people think. And
I've heard that, yeah.
What people think. People don't understand. People don't understand that the Rothschilds bought a piece of land and they named it Israel. And then they called themselves Jews. They're Zionist Jews. They are not religious Jews. They have an ideology. It's not religion based, like, you know, like Orthodox Jews, right?
Mm-hmm.
They worship Satan.
Yeah, I know. And people think that you're crazy when you say this, but when you can share the information, they're like, that's propaganda. You know, like, so you don't want it. You're not even a little bit curious if this is real. Do you not care about your children? Because that's some pretty scary shit to, like, not do your research, and then all of a sudden they start taking your kids like they're doing in all these places. There was a case in Wyoming, one of my friends, on an interview I did not too long ago, he said something how a child wanted to become transgender, and because the parents refused, the state, and I think it was Wyoming, they ended up taking the kid. I'm like, that could happen to you, but don't worry about it. You got your bases covered. You know, it amazes me.
Well, my friend Felicity Blazek, she's the one that hosted the first Q rally out in at Lamphere's Ranch in South Dakota. And I helped organize that. And that's where I met Gene Ho for the first time. And that's where I met David Straight for the first time. I was blessed to be invited to
I'm listening. I got distracted by your dog.
Foxy here. She's usually pretty close to me. But yeah, that's my Foxy Roxy. But we went to, so I helped organize the first Q rally. So I was invited to this VIP event. And that's where we saw this amazing picture that will be iconic to the world when JFK Jr. finally comes public to everyone.
I know people that are listening to this think it's crazy, but long story short, I didn't believe it at first until you get on those, when I was on live chats when negative, and I'm like, sounds just like him, and he's saying everything. And then he's showing you what to look up in gematria and how it all cross references with George Magazine and all.
So one time Michael says, Don't even knock on the door tomorrow unless you did the gematria on the plane crash and the red tide.
Oh, it's everyday people that don't understand. They think that we're legit crazy, but it's fascinating that literally all
It
this
is.
stuff is
The more
in our face, and they don't know how to look it up. It's just I predict it's going to be the trendiest game, so to speak, of
yeah,
life because people are going to be able to come together and start putting the puzzle piece together.
like Yahtzee or something or Scrabble, but it'll be with numbers instead of
Yeah.
putting letters on there to spell out words. They will actually be putting numbers out there to spell, to play like Scrabble and stuff like that. I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone and the kids are going to do so great because they're going to start decoding all their superhero movies and all that because
Awesome. It's just, oh my God, it's mind blowing when you really get into it. Oh, I have a
yeah.
good story.
What?
So, I don't remember exactly what it said. So, I was feeling very incompetent when it came to gematria. I was like, I'm never going to figure this out. Why do you have me here, God? I don't understand why I'm here. I'm never going to figure this out, right? And I went to my ATM at my bank.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a brown card, not on the screen, a physical card,
Mm-hmm.
right? Physical card. And it said, all things are possible with God. And I took one of Carla's little tricks and she adds up all the words. Well, there was 27 words.
Uh-huh.
I did the gematria, it's a long code, but then on the other side, I don't remember, but it was a Chuck Swindoll quote, something about, getting straight from facing up, up. I can't remember exactly what it was, but
Uh-huh.
it was a good quote. And I knew that message was for me. And I picked that card up and I still have it, but it's up in my bedroom. I still have it to this day. And but the gematria on that, but
Oh no, you just got muted. Are they messing with your electronics over there and you don't know about it? Are they messing with your electronics and you don't know about it? Because you didn't touch it.
that was my patriot brother Tony that was just calling, my Proxmanian patriot brother Tony. And
Oh, okay.
I don't ever not answer the phone for anybody that's my fellow Proxmanians, but he'll understand. But they're calling because we're making plans for Bob Joyce's, to go see Bob Joyce.
And
And
that's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow? Wait.
I'm gonna head out probably Saturday, early Saturday morning.
Oh, okay. Wait till
Yeah.
people find out who he
They're doing
is.
they're doing Saturday fellowship for Valentine's Day. And then
Oh.
one of our friends, she had shirts made.
What are they gonna say?
I can tell you because by the time this goes out, I won't get in trouble.
Cool.
Because she wants it to be a surprise for everybody.
Tell me.
It says tinfoil princess on it.
It says what?
Tinfoil princess. Tinfoil princess.
10 as in the number 10?
Like 10, like tinfoil
10.
hat.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought. Tinfoil princess. Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Oh my goodness, I'm going all out. I'm decked.
Hold on. Can I look that up? Hold on. I want to look that up on gematria.
Yeah, so but my whole thing is like with the Hitler, that was hard for me. Felissa, like I said, Felissa hosted the first Q rally, and I also helped her with the event out in Arizona, Patriot Party in Arizona. Gene Ho was a speaker at that, and I got David Strait out there for that event. And there's a whole bunch of people, and my
You'll have
friend
to connect me to David Strait at some point. I have a funny feeling a lot of people that are leaving the church out here in Utah, oh, puppy, they're gonna need to reach out to him at some point.
Yeah, he's living in Texas now.
He's not in Utah. I thought he lived in Utah.
he used to have a house, he used to have a ranch out in Oregon actually. But he goes all
Oh,
over, he goes all over the country. But
yeah, yeah. I don't know why for some reason I thought he lived in Utah or something. Because I remember Easy sent me.
at some point, I'm sure he did, but
Oh, okay.
and but anyway, but with the Hitler thing, right? So people think that's God's land, Israel, but it's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like the whole snafu with them putting on Trump gear and Q gear to make us look bad, right?
That's a good example. I like that.
They had it in the newspaper at 9:30 in the morning that the Capitol was being attacked. We were all down there waiting for our president. We wanted to get our place.
I when you say that to people to be like, nah, I'm like, what are these videos of the police letting all the back, these people in the back door? They're the ones that are, I mean, they just don't want to believe, but they're going to have to believe because it's going to be in their face 155.
Without violating some serious, confidence there. I can't really talk too much, but I will tell you this, things aren't always as they seem.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashley Babbitt.
Is she alive? Oh, she's frozen again. Are you there?
Alive. Ashley Babbitt is alive.
Yep. I read that and I saw some.
Ashley Babbitt is a white hat. Ashley Babbitt volunteered to get shot with a rubber bullet. She was supposed to get shot in the chest. She got shot in the neck. That somebody gets shot in the neck, there would be blood all over the walls. It would be blood. And
crazy.
And
it's gonna be a movie within a movie. I always tell everyone, like Mr. T says, he's like, you're watching a movie within a movie.
Yeah, the reason why though was because if there is a shooting in the congressional chamber, the chamber has to be cleared.
Say that one more time.
If there is a shooting in the congressional chamber, the chamber has to be cleared. So when that happened with Ashley,
that's when they noticed that there wasn't really a real.
They left and they left their laptops behind. And the National Guard went in and got 27 laptops, including Nancy Pelosi's.
I can't wait. That's super crackosaurus. She's disgusting.
I mean, I'm not be supposed to say that on such an open forum. I won't say who told me that. I won't say who told me that. But
I read that out there too. I mean, Telegram and Rumble and those uncensored platforms. There
was a video that was like 20 minutes long that broke down all the ways that the shooting was fake. And but it was, and so Ashley is a hero. Make no mistake about it. Her family, she's in witness protection. So just like any other person in witness protection, their families have no idea. And I've had the honor of meeting Micki a few times, or at least twice out, outside the jail. And I think she was there in Missouri too. Anyway, but all I said to her was things aren't always as they seem and keep the faith. Because I'm not going to sit there and try to tell this woman who's grieving the loss of her daughter, but she's a hero and she'll go down as one of the most major heroes of our time. And I mean that with all my heart. And Ashley Babbitt, that was one of the reasons why I refused to walk down the stairs that day, because I didn't know all of this at the time. And all I had heard was that Ashley Babbitt got shot and killed. And Ashley was in the Air Force and she served, 4 different deployments, a lot of different deployments, Afghanistan, different places in the Middle East. And she was a war hero. And I was like, I'm not my Air Force sister here. I'm just not going to do it. And I was just like, it was the hill I was willing to die on that day. And I told that police officer, you could shoot me dead, but I'm not walking. And
I'm
then,
proud of you. All for
yeah,
something so silly when people think about it, when they truly think about that, that
well,
you were in jail that long.
we had been gassed. And at that time, I got gas. When we got gas, that was kind of tough, but I was trained because of my military service. And so I knew the gas would go up. So I got down on the ground. And I just like, God, if you want me to stay here, you're going to have to give me the strength to do it. And I stood up and I held my Q flag and my Trump's Troops for Trump flag in one hand and my Q flag in the other. And that's when that Right Side Broadcasting got a really great shot of me with that. It was all over the news. And my whole thing is that, so this female officer, she threatened to pepper spray me twice. I just laughed in her face. I said, girl, you do what you have to do. I said, I'm an Iraq war veteran. There's nothing you can do to me. I've been through already, you know. And they dropped me down at the bottom of the stairs. Well, my charge, basically, I would have had to refuse to leave the property for my charge to stick. I was walking around that property for, God, I don't know, a long time after they dropped me at the bottom of the stairs. I was praying with people. I was, taking pictures with people. And I was never escorted off the property by the police at all. They never escorted me. I walked off on my own accord. I was arrested on Q Street. I had a place. That's another thing. That's another God thing, right? That's how I first started with my whole God, if you want me there. So my friend Felissa Blasick, I always say her name wrong. She tells me I say her name wrong all the time.
You'll say my last name wrong. It's Kosleka. Everyone's like Kozlunka, Kozlak.
Something like that. I always say Kozlak. I don't know. Anyway,
Kosleka. It's okay.
my badass picture, sister. So what it was Felissa had called me and said, Micki, I need you to go to DC for the MAGA Jericho March. And I had never been to DC at that point. And I told her, I said, girl, I don't have the money. I said, I didn't really even get to get Christmas presents for my family this year. I said, I don't have the money. And luckily, my kids are all grown, and all that. So it's not like, when you have little ones. And so I said, God, if you want me there, you're going to have to find a way because I don't have no money. And get this crap. So I had a firm account. I had an affirm account, which is basically it's like private, little personal loans, right? A little bit. But I love Affirm. Affirm was good to me. It's high interest loans, but it's where I had at the time. And so I had just a little bit available on my Affirm account. And the first place that was available was $55 a night. Right. So mind you, my prayer to God is, God, if you want me there, you're gonna have to find a way because I don't have any money. What's 55? Military terms, Roger that, loud and clear.
Yeah, I love it.
So get where the address is. I get an angel bunch just talking about it. The address was 811 Q Street.
Really?
The address was 811 Q Street.
Huh.
First time when I went there for the MAGA Jericho March, I didn't have any problems, nothing, right? Second time was really bad after Jan 6. This guy was like, so you think it's okay to storm the Capitol? And that's all this stuff. And he was horrible, kept calling the cops on me. And matter of fact, he called the cops on me one time, and I was actually talking to the DOJ.
Really?
David was very upset with me about that. Because I talked to them in the first place, that made him upset. But the FBI had come to try to talk to me, and I was caught dead to rights. Okay, so I was driving all around in my Q mobile at the top down with flags flying,
I love it.
And handing out my "We're Ready to Fight" poem, my "We're Ready to Fight" poem to all the troops, right? And I get back to 811 Q Street, and the FBI is there waiting to talk to me. And I'm in my costume, right? I'm in my costume.
I love it.
Driving my car with, cute patriot on the back of my plates. And so, yeah, so I told him, I said, I don't have anything to say to you. I don't trust you. I don't have any. So that he's a short little guy with that short-itis disease. You know what I mean?
Could you take him?
I could have whipped this our little ass. And so anyway, so I don't talk to him. I go upstairs and I get on the phone with David Strait, and we're having, just like you and me, we're having a Zoom call. And he says, Micki, tell the FBI that you'll talk to them the second they can provide you with a charter that they're even allowed to operate in our country. He said, because they don't have one. It was denied. They were denied the authority to operate in our country. And so
I mean, this is the stuff that's fascinating that he tells us. And from what I understand, whenever he's been to court, he doesn't lose any cases because he's correct and he knows the real Constitution. And it's just.
So he sent me the actual copies proving that they were declined. It was started by the AG at the time. The FBI was started by nothing more than the AG at the time, started the FBI. And so, but then what happened was I got stupid because the DOJ come, oh, we just want to know your side of things. What was the day like? Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I should have just shut the door, said I don't have anything to say to you. But I got, I guess I was stupid. That's all I can say. So I was stupid. And so then I told you this. So this guy that kept calling the cops on me, right? I got a little smart, but right, because I'm red pilling the DOJ. Like I'm telling him about Ashley, David was not happy with me. He was not happy with me. He said,
I told you so.
He said, I couldn't even watch it. He goes, you just kept going on and on. Oh, he goes, I told you not to touch it. So, but I was talking intentionally loud, which I'm a loud person.
I like loud people.
That guy couldn't do anything about it. And he had to sit there and listen to me.
That's so awesome. Does he have like a book on that? Does he have a book that breaks it down? David Strait's information?
No, just everything I've learned, just a whole bunch of a whole host of stuff that I had learned, over all this time, 45 minutes worth. I told about, Jan 6 and, everything. And that's why they arrested me, because they said, was that you? And yeah, I wasn't going to deny it. I'm proud of this.
I'm proud of you. Thank you.
I'm proud of my actions. So I didn't want it. I honestly didn't want it on the record that I wasn't Q Patriot. I'm like, yes, I am Q Patriot. Micki Larson also. And I'm not ashamed of it. And someday down the road, I hope my grandbabies are just like, what did you do, Grandma? And I'll be like, you see that? That's me and the president.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I don't know what everybody else was doing, but that's me and the president. And that's
awesome.
JFK Jr. And that's,
I know to people that are going to be watching this later, that'll be like, oh my gosh, but it's all real. It's the biggest show on earth.
For one, I like to have it on the record now, because then when everybody thinks I'm crazy, but then when they learn the truth, right, I tell people in the jail, when I was in jail, I tell people, and I tell them all kinds of stuff, right, like JFK Jr. is your 19th vice president of our republic, and they're like, oh my God, that's Micki, oh my God, I didn't mean 19th vice president. Well, our country was hijacked in 1871. We were bankrupt after the Civil War, and so Grant went got a loan through the Vatican, through the British Crown, and that loan was required to be paid in gold. And so Grant was our last president of our republic. Every president since has been nothing but a CEO president to the corporation.
Yep.
Because they went from, we used to be Capital United, right? Capital U, and capital S, and there used to be 4, and then capital A, America. Well, they made it all caps, right? And that alone, they made us a corporation. And that's why you got an all caps name, because you are nothing but an asset. You are a corporation with underneath the corporation. Do you understand that?
It's
You
so
are
messed up. Yeah, it's just
a corporation underneath the corporation. So your money, right? If you go look up what is the dollar backed by, right? It'll say good faith and credit. Guess what? That's because you're the good credit. Your labor is what that dollar is backed by. Your labor, okay?
I
And
know. It's not messed up.
they made us, the collateral for that loan that was taken out in 1871. Okay, so
I'm going to
if
post the video of David Straight after this so people can reference it because it's the one where there's a few different parts. I think
well,
it'll explain a lot with what you're talking about as well.
yeah, matter of fact, you know, I'm getting ready to go because I refused to pay my credit card bills, especially after I found out I was being traded out on the stock market solid. So I made my decision. I was going to use all my retirement pay from my military service to follow our real president and fight for our republic. And that's what I've been doing, not giving my money to the bankers. People go, well, you did, you know, you're ripping off JCPenney. No, JCPenney got paid, and they got, and the banks got paid. They took their money out of my trust. So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't feel any guilt towards that. I'm fighting for our republic. I'm fighting for everybody getting a Zara. Everybody's
Thank
going to be
you.
devastated when they find out that the reason our own government did 9/11 was to keep us from having our republic. We finally had the gold underneath the World Trade Center to pay back the British crown. They're going to find out that Queen Elizabeth was not the legitimate heir to the throne. And the proof she was not the legitimate heir to the throne was in Building 7. And we have videos showing that they said Building 7 went down 20 minutes before it actually went down. There's actual video of a reporter saying Building 7 went down and Building 7 didn't go down for 20 minutes after she said that. Okay, so and then the Pentagon. So I have firefighter friends too, right? And they said, Micki, there was no plane, there was no plane parts, there was no bodies, there was no blood. Wow. It was a missile. There's even a CIA pilot that said there's no way to make a plane go do an entry like that. Where's the wingspan? When you look at the building, if the plane went through it, you would have seen the wingspan. You don't see that.
That's a good point. And I mean, look at what they do with holograms and stuff now. I mean, the big giant whales and
now I won't be surprised to find out it was holograms with the airplanes, you know, that they claim flew into the that's Project Blue Beam, I believe, is what they used for that. And I watched another video how they were saying that, like they could have it look like a plane. It looked very real, you know.
Isn't that crazy? And the average person would think that we sound crazy, but when you actually do the research on this, our own government officials from a lifetime ago have been talking about this stuff.
Well, and you take into fact too that okay, so the fake Queen of England was supposed to step down that morning. Okay, we were supposed to Nazara. George W. Bush was supposed to announce Nazara that day. Okay, which Nazara was. Okay, so apparently from this video I recently watched, because you know the British when they burned up our 13th Amendment, which is the Titles and Nobilities Amendment, right? And so technically, according to our first Constitution, we only had at that time when they were pushing this Nazara through, there was only 15 people that actually, per our first Constitution, were allowed to be our representatives. And so they were the ones that signed Nazara, and then the military forced Bill Clinton, you know, apparently at gunpoint to sign it into law on October 10th, 2000. George W. Bush was supposed to announce it September 11th. So September 11th was supposed to be a great day of celebration for the American people. We were supposed to get our republic back that day. The fake Queen of England was supposed to step down. and we were supposed to get Nazar, okay? And when people ask me what Nazar, well, first thing, it fired the president, the vice president, their entire cabinet, and every congressperson and senator for the crimes they've committed against the American people. There'd be 100 new elections held within 120 days. Okay. And all it needed was to be publicly announced. It backs our money in gold, silver, precious metals. It ends all foreign wars. Senior citizens get more money, and
Which should be the right way. They should not be working. They should not be paying taxes. That's probably
Right.
the hardest working generation. And they have to work out the checkouts and stuff. That's not living. Why would you even want to continue if
right.
sorry, I
But
digress.
there's these 6,000 cures and technologies that were supposed to be released to us. So imagine all the people that have died that would not have died.
My mom, yep, our family, these friends.
You know, people that died of cancers, no cure. And so it's just so much to Nazara. It backs us. So every law written after 1871, when we became a corporation, is null and void. So everybody that's in these prisons and jails after 1870 for crimes that were not crimes at that time, which at that time there were only God's crimes, right? So like really like 4 things that could get you thrown in prison.
Yep.
Now we have 40 million different laws on the books.
Is it really 40 million?
40 million between all of the states, all the statutes, all this crap, all of it totals out to be 40 million. Now, not all 40 million.
That even makes sense. Oh my gosh.
Get a fine for this or that, whatever. But the whole thing is, but Nazara makes all of the lawyers have to be retrained in constitutional law. I know I'm forgetting, you know, all foreign wars come to an end. Just like there's a whole list, but
I can't wait for that day though. I hope it's this year.
So many people believe Jesus Christ was actually born September 11th, and that's why they do these evil things on that day. It was a satanic ritual. George H.W. Bush. Now I was a huge Bush supporter. Matter of fact, before we close out today, I'm going to read you my poem. I'm going to cut us off. I'm going to cut us off at 8 my time. Okay. So I got to make my cookies, but so I had to make my cookies. But so I
want a cookie.
Do you know those traditional wedding cake cookies?
The topper cookie? What?
Traditional Mexican wedding cake cookies. Go look them up when you get done. I made them for the first time tonight. They turned out amazing. I've always liked them, but
you're gonna have to invite me for some of your cookies someday then.
Bob Joyce for one of the fellowships. I make sure I even if I gotta rent a car to go, I'm gonna go see Bob Joyce for well, his wife Willina, which is an amazing lady. The first time I met Willina was it was Easter 2021, 22. It was Easter 2022. And she told everybody that she wanted me to give my testimony because I bought a white sequence jumpsuit. I bought these.
You're going discoing, huh?
Cute Patriot high heels, like red, white, and blue with like flames and like
I love it.
You're gonna go meet Elvis Presley. I needed Elvis Presley shoes, right? And you know, and
again, people won't understand that for a while. They'll have to go back to this.
Lena's like, what is all this about? And so I told you, I'm 21 year retired Iraq war veteran, January 6th defendant, blah blah blah, right? And so anyway, I love her to death. Bob Joyce, yes, she's just amazing. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. So what it was last time I went to church, she said, are you going to be here for Valentine's Fellowship February 10th? And I said, yeah, I'll be here. So, because I try to go once a month.
It's my daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
February 10th. Huh?
How old is she going to be?
She's gonna be 20.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, my
She still
son,
doesn't talk to me though. I don't even get phone calls, cards, so many of us. We're all in the same boat,
it
yeah,
just kind of had to agree to just disagree and, and um make up your mind what is most important for the long run. She knows that you're there, and that's the important
yeah.
thing. But me, I think my time in jail, because when I got out of jail, so what happened was I got out of jail and I was doing filming because I've been being filmed for a documentary on Real Patriots. Greg Bergman has been.
Oh, that would be awesome. I can't wait to.
And so he decided to make it a docu series. So I don't know what the status is on that. We finished filming quite a while ago, right shortly after I got out of jail. We finished filming that.
Out of the
And
slammer. You got to
so
throw some humor in it a little bit that you got out of the slammer.
I think he needs to. I think it'll be more successful once the truth comes out about everything. Because right now
Yeah.
we're still the villains. You know what I mean? We're still the villains. I think he
Do you
needs
feel
to.
like it's gonna be this is the year of disclosure?
Oh, absolutely. It's all. I think this is the year for sure. This is the year it all ends.
And Tucker Carlson just came out interviewing Putin. I haven't
Right.
seen. So he's supposed to be dropping a lot of truth bombs. People are going to be like, they're not going to even get it.
I think it was Ghost Ezra that said Tucker just got the remaining bit of evidence from Putin. Do you remember?
Ooh.
We got a bunch of evidence in that soccer ball.
Yes, I was just talking about that the other day, or was it last night?
So Michael Brian Protzman said on that there was like trigabytes or whatever it is that were in that soccer ball of information, right?
Trigger, what are they called? It's
It was like more than gigabytes, like trigabytes or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Data that was put in that soccer ball, because he said the ball's in your court. Well, soccer is played on a field. It's not played in a court, right?
Yeah. Oh, uh-huh.
The information to go to court.
Ah, that does make sense. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. Took me a second, but
right.
That's what happens. You get so much info. You're like, you try to decode it.
So apparently Tucker just got the remaining bit of evidence. So I don't know, but
oh, go Tucker, go Tucker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
that's amazing.
This it's been a journey for sure, but I'm just praying for our Jan Sixers. Like I said, Jessica Watkins, we became very close when I met her for the first time while we were both in jail. We used to talk all the time before she went to this new jail. I don't know if like the rules changed or it's different, or I don't know. But anyway, I love her to death and much respect for her. And so for all my January Sixers, I just pray they all get vindicated and released, and the truth comes out. And
I pray for
the proper people get punished. The proper people need to get punished. Nancy Pelosi,
severely.
A lot of these people are already dead, right? You know that.
Yeah.
They're already.
I just wish that we could have seen it live.
Well,
I'm serious. I wonder how are they gonna have like they do in the movies where they have the newspaper with the date and everything, and then they're like, I mean, there's so many masks and so much stuff going on. How are you gonna know that it really happened?
On analog, so it can't be manipulated. It's all analog video and audio. Their confessions, everything, the executions, and then people will have the choice to see it or not. But
when the EBS goes off, is that when they're going to show it, or is it going to be after all that?
When they're showing the tapes for like 10 days, it'll be like different showings of this. One tape will be shown 3 times in a day, right?
Yeah, so I heard that, yeah.
And then it'll be for 10 days. They'll see.
Good. Yeah. I want to see it. I know that sounds crazy, but I really do want to see it.
Especially Hillary.
Yep.
But so this is something I read. I'm gonna close it out with this, okay, Sharon?
Okay, Micki.
So I wrote this poem called We're Ready to Fight after September 11th. I've read it all over the country. The first time I read it was at my unit. My squadron commander had me read it to the troops. My base commander had me read this September 11th, 2007 in Baghdad, Iraq. I read this part before I read my poem. I wrote this poem a few days after this September 11th, 2001 attacks. God help me with these words after much prayer. I know the truth about those attacks now. My greatest prayer is that all enemies, foreign and domestic, responsible for that evil on that day and all subsequent evil that arose from it are punished to the fullest extent of the law and in keeping with God's will for all. I served in Baghdad, Iraq in 2007 as a master sergeant and retired from the Air Force after 21 years. I also believe God helped me with these words for right now. Anyone that stole a voice from our collective voice, our government of we the people, of the people, by the people, for the people, is also a terrorist. And if they're an American citizen, they are a traitor. They made the decision that we the people no longer have a right to govern ourselves. I am a proud digital soldier, Proxmanian, and January 6, 2021, inmate 376303. I was given the max sentence of 180 days for unlawful entry public. I served 161 days in the Washington, D.C. Correctional Treatment Facility, aka jail, from 30 September 22 through 9 March 23. We the people are ready to fight. Diamonds are coal under pressure. Be the diamond and never let anyone or anything dull your shine. Shine like the brightest star you are. The best is yet to come. Justice will be served. Where we go one, we go all is how we make tyranny fall. We're ready to fight. It's come time for us to fight for the US of A, to show those terrorists that they will pay. It's come time for us to take a stand. It's come time for us to fight for our great land. We need to fight for the good of all, because there are so many that are truly appalled. We have a nation that is exceptionally great. The ones that did this are full of hate. They have no idea how strong we are. We're even stronger now, stronger by far. We won't hide behind closed doors. We won't do that anymore. Yes, we will be more aware. What they did just wasn't fair. As a member of the United States Air Force, if the president asks me to go to war, I have only one answer. Yes, sir, of course. I can do this, you see, because this country means so much to me. What you need to know right now is all of us in uniform have taken a vow to fight for our freedom and all of our rights. And for that, we are willing to sacrifice. That day of September 11th, the day so many left us and went to heaven, we all saw the horror. That very second, our tears began to pour. This pain will never go away. We lost sons, daughters, husbands, fathers, wives, mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, brothers, sisters, friends, co-workers on that day. Those terrorists will soon realize our country is here to stay. We stand united, this much is true. We will fight for our red, white, and blue. So to everyone you see, we're ready to fight for the land of the free. So continue to wave our flag real proud and remember what we all vowed. Don't lose your faith in the Lord. You'll need it more now than ever before.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. I'm praying. I pray every second of the day.
For all the victims of September 11th, I pray for those victims, and I pray for their families, and I pray the truth will come out and the rightful people will get what God demands, what our Constitution demands. Oh, that's one thing. When I got out of jail. I went to New Hampshire, and right after I met the president, I talked to, I think his name's Ryan Riley with NBC. And
Mhm.
they say that I said that anybody that doesn't support Trump needs to be executed. And I did say that I want front row seats to Michael Pence's execution, but he's already dead. He's already long gone. But but my point was, but it wasn't just because of the election. It was because he raped and murdered over 208 children and sex trafficked children as the governor of Indiana. And he was forced on President Trump that they told him that they wouldn't accept his nomination unless he took Mike Pence, because they kept trying to get rid of Trump, didn't they? And they kept trying to kill him. They kept trying to get rid of him to put Mike Pence in there so they could keep doing their evil. That's what they want. They would kept trying to get rid of Trump so Mike Pence. But what they don't know, see, I'm going to give you stuff and the whole world's going to think Micki is so crazy.
You're not.
I'm going to tell you this. We'll end it with this, because this is a good place to end it. So we got this letter down from Bill Marshall years ago. And it said the call sign changed on Air Force 2 from Air Force 2 to SAM 239, Special Airlift Mission, right? But if you look in the Bible for Samuel 239, it's very interesting because it talks about bringing the traitor, basically bringing a traitor to the king. Go look it up.
I like it.
It's all biblical, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened, what we were told was that the call sign only changes if the vice president is no longer the vice president or they're dead. Okay. And we were also told JFK Jr. was sworn in as our vice president on Air Force One on July 4, 2019. See, because Mike Pence and some corrupt evil generals tried to kill JFK Jr. for real on July 2nd. Because you remember when President Trump wanted to do that big, huge parade in Washington, D.C., and everybody threw a fit about it? In 2019, he wanted to do a big, huge parade. That's because he was going to bring JFK Jr. out to the public.
Oh, and that's exactly why they did that, and they acted like that then, and that's why it didn't happen.
Yep, people don't know about robotoids. You know, they can create a robotoid with a piece of hair or a skin cell.
Robotoid, can you say that? Say that one more time.
A robotoid, right? Okay, so like a robotoid is different than a clone. So a clone, you basically have to grow from the time you were born, right? It would have to be created at that time. A robotoid goes based on your age now. So whatever your cells are now, you would basically grow into that person. So, but you don't look the same. You don't look the same. So if you go to Mike Pence and you look at pictures of him before July 2nd, 2019, and go every 6 months or so, not the same person.
Oh, like all of them. I mean, if anyone thinks that Biden is the real Biden, he looks nothing like the other one. And then the Hillary they have walking around is wicked, super short.
Think about it this way. So these bad people, they think Mike Pence is bad, right? So they're telling him all this stuff. Meanwhile, the White Hat's got all of it. Now, maybe he's being played by an actor, but I know at one point he was a robotoid. He might be being played by an actor. Now a lot of them are being played by actors. Nancy Pelosi's even been played by Michael Jackson.
Oh, nothing is going to surprise me. And I feel like that's exactly how you're going to get people to.
And Nancy Pelosi's eyebrows are like all the way like up here. This is Michael Jackson. And Joan Rivers has played her. Aaliyah's played Kamala Harris. Aaliyah's played, and I believe, many of us believe, our very own Michael Brian Protzman, or
Is
because I believe Michael Brian Protzman was a minimum of 4 people. A minimum.
really 4 people?
A minimum.
Oh, meaning characters.
No, real people that played Michael. I believe there was a real Michael Brian Protzman.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Real JFK Jr. played Michael Brian Protzman. Patrick Kennedy played Michael Brian Protzman. And on about 3 occasions, I truly believe none other than President John Fitzgerald Kennedy played.
That's so cool. I can't wait. You know what I still think is they're gonna do like they do in the movies. You know how they always have programmed us to be like, oh, behind the scenes on this movie set and this and that. I feel like they're gonna do that for the big disclosure, so people will be like, see,
Yeah.
it was planned all along. Am I right or am I right? I think so.
Well, there's one picture especially that is why I truly believe JFK. I believe JFK was with us.
Oh, I got
November
orbs. Oh, wait, is that an orb? I'm listening to you. I thought I saw an orb in my video.
November 22nd, 2022. No, yes, 2022. And I believe Christmas Eve he was with us, and I believe he was with us one day at least at the truck convoy.
That's so crazy cool.
Yeah, I believe there was at least 3 times President Kennedy was with us.
So
And
people aren't going to even know until it's disclosed if they were really talking to him or all that.
well, there's this picture, Seattle Times, it says Michael Brian Protzman. So if you Google Michael Brian Protzman, Seattle Times, right?
Okay.
Well, that guy has hair this thick off top of his head, okay? He's not dressed like Michael did, normally dressed, and his hands are in his pocket. He's inside this queue, right? We had a candle that night, and he's inside the queue, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, and he's all completely clean shaven, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, the next day, Michael's got his normal scruff, his hair is back to normal like this. I'm telling you, that was JFK. JFK was inside that queue. I'm willing to bet money that I don't have on it.
I love this. That's why this is going to be the movie within the movie, because it's so scary of what people have been doing to us and our families and our grandparents.
Call me crazy, people. Call me crazy. Because someday
we're going to be the new norm.
I can be like, oh, Micki tried to tell us. And we just told her how crazy she was.
I'm with you, girlfriend. I'm backing you up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. This is just
back to my cookie making and try to eat something.
I love it. Well, hey, before I let you go, are there any words of encouragement that you would like to share with viewers?
Just hold the line. The best is yet to come. Yeah. That's the best.
Gotcha. Well, please, friends, say thank you to Miss Micki. She's amazing, looking out for your children, your family. Please like and subscribe, because I'll have more interviews. Again, I'm just so fascinated with everyone's great awakening stories.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. She's so